Hi everyone, I'm on to do frequently asked questions about light language because I get so many people messaging me, asking me questions about it that I thought this would be the best way to address it so that you could just pop in here and get the answers you need. So, the first question that I usually get asked is, how do I know if it's light language? So the way that you know is that there's a flow, right? You don't have to think about it. So if you're speaking the light language, it just flows. You don't have to think about the words the same way if you were thinking about a conversation or thinking about what you were going to say next. The words just flow. There's a beautiful flow to it. The same way if the light language is coming through in symbols, it's almost for a lot of people like automatic writing, so they're just in the zone. It's just very natural to them. So that's how you know. If you have to be thinking about it, then you're either not letting it flow naturally or it isn't light language, right? So that's the easiest way for that one. So I wrote them down. So what do I do with it is the next question I get asked. So for me, having lived with it for 31 years before I found anyone who spoke it, um, I would definitely, be talking about integrating it or, really letting it, blend with you, letting it become very normal and natural for you. Um, I know for me, it took a very, very long time to really integrate it because I was so young. I was only 14, and there was a lot came with it for me, a lot of very, strange experiences, but it was just that was my job. That was my job to clear the energy in the place that I was in. But sing it, hum it, chant it, sign it, dance it, write it. Just have fun with it. Just let it flow through without having any idea of it doing anything. It's already doing all it needs to do. It's coded, it's technology. It's going to affect the very molecules around your head. It's going to affect everything. Um, you can use it with your children. My daughter will say to me, Mom, can you do your hooga booga? That's what she calls it. And if she's stressed or anxious or whatever, I can extract it using the light language because that's how it works with me. Other people, they say it over, people that are not feeling well, they say it over plants that are ailing a little, over pets, over their food. I always say hold the intention of what you want and speak light language into your intention. There are so many ways that you can use it. There are so many ways that you can play with it. A lot of people say to me, it's happened spontaneously. That's brilliant. Just let it flow. When I'm out for a walk, my hands in certain places will just start to move. And I know that I'm either grounding in some positive codes in that area or transmuting in that area. You'll find that like I used to sign as a very young child. There was symbols I used to make with my hands. If I was in a situation where I felt a bit jangly, it was just natural. Um, so don't freak out that you have to do anything with it. Just enjoy it. Just enjoy speaking it. Just if you're a healer and you plan to use it in your healing work, really, really get to know how it feels inside you first. Does it work on your solar plexus? Do you get a lot of like exhales from the throat? Do you feel energy moving as cold or like wind, or you know what I mean? You have to get very used to how it's feeling inside of you because 9 times out of 10 that's how your energy is going to affect other people. So if you're planning on using it as a healer and people come back and say it did this and it did that and you don't know how to how to help them or how to, comfort them and say that's fine or whatever if you haven't experienced it yourself. So let it have you. I always say that. Let it have you. Um, just work with it, enjoy it. It's a blessing, a very, very deep, deep blessing. So the next one I usually get is what is the difference between light language and tongues? The best way that I can describe this is that my parents used to have charismatic meetings in the house where people spoke in tongues, and I got, somebody came and gave me a blessing and I was speaking in tongues. The difference with tongues is that it sounds the same. My father's tongues sound the exact same as they did 30 years ago when he was, initiated or whatever into it. In my opinion, tongues don't change. You have this, it's a specific kind of thing that doesn't change. With light language, it evolves. The more you practice it, the different modalities of or tonalities that can come through, different vibrations, animal sounds, um, native Native American sounding codes, all sorts. It's amazing, and even after all this time with me, it's still evolving and still new codes come through, and it's like yay, because they'll each do a different thing. So the more you use it, the more you open as a channel to hold more of the codes, to hold more of the light. Um, it doesn't mean that if you aren't getting more sounds or whatever coming through that there's something wrong. It just means that that is the perfect vibration for you, and that's what you work with. That's what you need. So I hope that explains that one. Where to find support? If you're on Facebook, there's a fantastic group called Keepers of the Code. That's normally where I send people because it's a very supportive group. The sharing there is very honest and kind. There's no ego that I've seen so far. So I feel safe sending people there. There's another lovely page that's just started up as well, specifically for females because the lady running it, that's just what she wanted. So as far as I know, it's light activation um, for females. Sorry, now that's as basic as it gets, but you'll find it very easy if you look for light activation for females. Um, there's some wonderful light language speakers out there as well. That um, Sacred Romeo is lovely. They just there's lots there. All you have to do is type it in, light language groups, and you'll find them. Not all of them are equal. I have heard from other people on other pages that there's a little bit of ego comes in, and a little bit of, oh, you're only new to it. I've been doing it so long, or whatever. To be honest, there should be no ego with light language. We're all ancient. We've all been speaking this. At some level, we come in as babies speaking it. Um, there are many reasons for why people shut it off or shut it down, like shutting down um, their psychic gifts and abilities. People have very good reasons for closing those down. We are living in energy now where people can rapidly advance. So it's not about time anymore. It's about intention. It's about energy. It's about wanting to expand into all that you are. That's it. It's not about age. It's not about any of that. It's literally about, do you want it? How much do you want? And then in it comes, okay? So the next one that I get asked a lot is, what is the origin? What is the planetary system that this is from? Are you speaking Pleiadian? Are you speaking Syrian language? And I never ever labeled it. I never labeled the languages or the tonalities that come through. That's just me. There are people who will say, I am a Pleiadian speaker, I am from Arcturus, I am, from Sirius, and they will know, because they've honed in on a particular frequency. For me, I wanted it to be as broad and unlimited as possible. So I didn't want to put myself in a bracket of, I'm from Sirius or I'm a Sirius being. And um, I do resonate strongly with Sirius. I used to collect blue bottles, anything blue I loved. I do resonate with Blue Ray, but I try not to put myself in a box with it. I'm a human vessel. I have been many things on many planets, as have you. For some people, there will just be a stronger resonance with one or two planetary systems, and that may come through in your energy, it may come through in your healing ability, how that manifests. And it's fun to explore it, but don't get stuck in it because we are multidimensional beings and we have aspects of everything. And just be very open. Keep your heart open to all that you are. Okay, just have fun with it. Resonance is a big one. I get people saying, I listened to somebody and I felt all weird inside. I spoke the light language, but I'm afraid. I'm afraid of opening myself up to all sorts of weird. And I get it. That was one of the things that I was most frightened of when it started coming through me, that because I was raised in a very Catholic background where any of that stuff would have been seen as entities or, you know, possession and all that sort of stuff. So I had to do a lot of work on myself to get rid of that fear and to deprogram from it. I also lived with the light language, like I said at the beginning, until I felt comfortable with it, until I felt the essence of it. And then when I started working with other people and they were saying it felt like medicine, it felt really good, it shifted this, it moved that, it opened this. And I always go by what Jesus said, a tree is known by its fruit. So if the fruit of the light language is good, if you feel like it's cleared you, even if it feels strange and things are moving through you, light language is very powerful. It's very powerful code that will move out distortion. So don't freak out if you're, twitching or shaking or whatever. It's your body releasing this energy. If you feel good after it, if you feel clear after it, less dense in your body, then it's doing its job. Um, I know for myself though, there are some light language speakers that make me instantly jangly, so I just stop listening. So they're not for me. And it's the same way with every walk of life. You will meet people that feel like your people, and you will meet people, and on sight you know they're not your people. So it's all about resonance. It's not to say that person is bad or their light language is bad. It just means it's not for you. You're either just that little bit higher than him, or you're that bit lower in frequency, and you have to find what works for you, and then you'll just change. The distortions will drop away and you'll become very clear. But I absolutely and totally trust myself now. Even if everyone is saying, oh, this person's amazing, I felt this and I felt that, if I listen to them and I feel that clench, or that, for me, it's like I start exhaling almost immediately, and I know then that's not for me. Um, and don't judge it. Just, okay, that's not for me. Let's move on and find someone or something that is. It's not about judgment at all. It's just finding what's right for you. It's the same way as with like something like acupuncture. My in-laws and my husband thrive on acupuncture. If I get acupuncture, I have to sit down for 15 minutes. I have to have water. I just feel all wobbly. So it's the exact same thing, right? I think I've covered the main questions that people ask me about it. Um, Another one maybe is how to get going with it, how to activate it. So I do have an activation video up. I know other people do as well, other light language speakers. What I would suggest is you play around with tone. You set the intention that yes, this is what I want, and then you play around with tone. So you start going ah ee ooh ee ah ooh ooh, and you hold the intention, and sooner or later it will bubble up, it will flow out. Lots of people then feel panic. They're like, ooh. Don't feel panic, just relax. It's your medicine first. That's what I always say. It's your unique medicine. Imagine how amazing that is. This is a technology that is yours. So you get a headache, you speak light language. You want to bring something to you, you speak light language over it. You want to move out the sads, you speak light language. You want to draw someone amazing to you, you speak light language. It's incredible. Honestly, it's so incredible. I'm so excited for you to to start exploring it. So I think I've covered all the questions. If I haven't, then just leave your question in the comments and I'll get to them as soon as I can. And hopefully this was helpful. Um, Also, people that want to work with me, my website is cronenmarlene.wixsite.com. facebook.com/the spirit seer. You can find me on Facebook under Marlene Cronin, or on Instagram at the spirit seer. So I'll try and link that in the bottom. I'm not very technologically minded, but hopefully that's helpful. Okay, have a lovely day, evening, night, wherever you were. And I hope this was helpful in some form. Bye.